Hello, good morning, good evening, I don't know where you are in the world, but the numbers are in. The House of Dragons, or the House of the Dragons, has trumped the Rings of Power, apparently the most successful premiere in the world, in which Amazon themselves are hiding user ratings and is equivalent of watching a car crash in slow motion. The House of the Dragon is the far superior show. Episode 3 is spectacular, and I'm going to be talking about this on my channel as we go. Well written, beautifully looking, great characterization, and overall a good show. On the other side of it, The Rings of Power is a slow burn cheese fest that has no relationship to the source material, contrary to what people are telling you. I think it goes to show that the House of the Dragon, despite my misgivings, and I still have some issues with it, is the better show. Like I said, the writing is really good, the characters are fleshed out and feel good. I didn't like Matt Smith in the first 2 episodes, but my god, did he really come into his own in episode 3. Just, honestly, a great series. And this is what the Rings of Power is missing. Great writing, great characters, not just I'm angry, I'm jumping off a boat and I swim the length of the Atlantic Ocean. This show is spectacular, and right now, critically, it's going down better with fans, it's going down better with critics all over, and it's interesting to see the difference. It's also interesting seeing the defenders of the Rings of Power insult people and attack people, and that moron from TikTok who was like, well, Tolkien was racist and this is our story now. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, the privilege, just privileged from a white saviour is one of the most unattractive qualities, and the male feminist is also an extreme red flag. Hello, Joss Whedon. I mean this, like, I watched that show, I sat down, I watched the first 2 episodes of The House of the Dragon back to back, and I did my video on it, and then I did, which is out now, and then I watched episode 3, and oh my god, did it come into its own. Like, those characters, the setting, and I'm trying to work something out. The Rings of Power is one of the most expensive television shows ever made. It is the most expensive television show. Why does it look like that? Why do the costumes look bad? Why does the CGI look so mixed that when it looks good, and when it looks bad, oh mother of God, it looks terrible? Why is the acting so bad? Why are there a bunch of no-names in this show? The House of the Dragons has a tiny budget compared to the Rings of Power. And, you know, you have reasonably well-known actors, good actors, with a bit of clout behind them. The costumes look good, except for that bloody carriage. I won't lie, there is a carriage in this show that looks so strange. And yeah, some of the armour does look a little bit light, but that's the nature of a show. Mostly everything's got weight to it and it's heavy. And I do get the feeling that they really went into this. I also got a little bit of heat when I talked about the House of Dragons, in the sense of there was no hype for it. And people are like, well, there was hype. It was all over this and all over that. Like, I follow those hashtags. I follow those accounts. I was barely seeing anything from anyone. And this show is spectacular. And I think it's going to be interesting watching the drop-off from the Rings of Power now, because the US numbers are quite telling, and it'll be interesting where they end up. Where I think the House of the Dragon is going to stay reasonably stable. Like, they've created something that's spectacular here, and like I said, the costumes, the writing, the visuals are spectacular. Everything's rooted in something, and just, it's cohesive and it's good, with actors who are really pushing their acting limits. And overall, I'm blown away by this show. And I know this is kind of a reaction and kind of a talky video, but what I find interesting is just seeing the difference between the two, and it's such a sad thing to say that I swear at this point the Rings of Power is money laundering, because I can't see where that budget went. Also, why is there Elven script on Dwarven costumes, and vice versa? It's so weird. but they were respectful to the book for the House of the Dragon. They took elements of the book and they brought it in with what they created for the TV show, because obviously separate universes. They didn't rewrite anything, they just kept what was there and expanded upon it, rather than just rewrite everything from the ground up and invent their own character stories and biographies. They've also, why I do have some issues with some of the race swap of the lore and some of the race swapping casting. I disagree with race swapping full stop, and gender swapping as well. And it goes both ways. But you know what? The House of Dragons is this solid, brilliantly written show that has genuinely got me excited again, and I feel that excitement, and I like that excitement. And just watching it trounce the Rings of Power is oddly satisfying. And it's interesting watching the Amazon are panicking, and it shows. I mean, overall, just watching them panic and throw everything they can, the Disney playbook. Oh my god, you're all misogynists, you're all ists, you're all this, you're all that. When no, we're not. And people are sick of being told they're wrong for not liking something. And it's kind of sad seeing people support this Rings of Power debacle because they feel they have to. And I've had that conversations with people, and I'm like, so you know it's a bad show, but you're supporting it anyway. Yeah, just because it's box ticky? How ridiculous. A show should stand on its own merit, and the Rings of Power doesn't have any merit to stand on, where the House of Dragons does. And oh my god, it gets better and better, and I'm looking forward to this series even more. Like I said, great writing, great characters, great visuals, great story, interesting plot, and the political intrigue of that whole world. And I won't lie, I want a dragon. I've always wanted a dragon since I was a child. So yeah, don't bother with the Rings of Power. Watch the House of the Dragon if you want good, epic, brilliant fantasy. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.